I'm Kavya, I'm 17, I'm from India, and I was one of the few Indians who had published her first research paper at the age of 16 in a PhD journal while still being in high school. And currently, I'm working with 15 plus NGOs in India and internationally, and I'm running and leading this community Gallup Park, which is officially registered under Gallup, founded by United Nations. Apart from the community contribution, I'm also working with an Indian psychiatrist and a PhD scholar from the US to research about the role of neurotransmitters in cognition, specifically for the patients who are suffering from schizophrenia. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a lot. And thank you so much for all of that. And could you tell us a bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis with the NGOs or even more about Gulab?
Yeah, I would say if we consider from day to day, because our work mostly relates on weekly basis, and we
Right.
spread more awareness about health related topics in India and specifically in the region I'm based in Gujarat.
And thank you. So, obviously, your journey didn't start too long ago, but what inspired you to do all of this at such a young age?
There was just one movement in my life which made me realize the true purpose of my life. And there is a movement, I would say, in everyone's life where a person would self discover themselves. And for me, self discovery is something that we look within ourselves but find something beyond ourselves. So
Hmm.
that was a movement when I was working very closely with one organization in Ahmedabad, which is a city I'm based in. And there were females who were not even wearing decent amount of clothes. They did not have food to eat. They did not have even an identity card to call themselves as Indian, and they did not even have a formalized education. And it was
Mhm.
that spark of movement when I realized that people have much greater problem than I ever could have. And I at least belong to a privileged background, and I have been gifted with every single thing that I have ever desired for. And it was that movement that I wanted to live more instead of writing letters to people that in next 3 months I don't want to live. I want to hang myself up and attempting suicide more than thrice in my life. I have realized that there is something that the community could have impact upon you. There is something that the people in the community and the surroundings you have surrounded yourself with could have a very huge impact upon your life. So I
Wow.
would say that was that spark of movement when I ended up every single negative thought that I had once.
Wow, it's crazy how some moments can just change your life like that.
Yeah.
That's a great source of inspiration. It's glad to hear that.
There's that
When
movement in everyone's life, and that is
Hmm.
the turning point. But what is important is you have to realize that it is a turning point and it could be for better. So in French, the opposite of deja vu is deja vu. And it's a movement when you see the same situation from a different angle, which is for good. So being suicidal was at least a movement of deja vu for me to that helped me realize that I was meant to do something greater for the community I was surrounded by.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. And could you tell us what you like the most about what you do?
I would say being surrounded by people is something that I like really the most because I'm very talkative by nature. And I really help reaching out to people and asking them if I could be of any help to them. Because really listening to the lives of people who are suffering from a lot of things really gives you and generates a completely different perspective in your mind. So when I visit and volunteer for a cancer hospital in my hometown, and they are at the last stage of cancer, but they still have that widest smile they could have. And that just lightens me up that, wow, I wish there are some movements in everyone's life where they could really, really smile without any reason, and they could give that smile to other people's faces.
Wow.
Wow, that's so nice. And finally, what is your advice to kids and the next generation? Even though you still are so young.
I would say, as an Indian, if I could say, I am a believer of Bhagavad Gita, and I would say doing something without having any expectations in return could be a thing that the young generation could have and could have a shift in the mindset towards. So when I first wrote my research paper, there were I would I would say 50 to 60 drafts that I had prepared, and every
Wow.
journal and the editor in India would know that I have chased them all over, but I wasn't knowing if my paper would be published or not. But I still chose to write that research paper because that was something that I liked doing, and I still do.
Mm.
So I think doing something without having any expectations in return could be the greatest advice that I could offer. Followed by being the most humble person on the planet. So when you have to really work with people from different countries and different communities, not only marginalized communities, you have to be humble enough to experience new changes in your surroundings. Right? Recently, we are seeing the technological revolution that we are facing. We have to be humble to accept that there is something that we need to learn. We have to accept that there are things that we don't know, and there is a huge world waiting for us full of opportunities that we could get.